Hello everybody, it is Deadly Productions here, and today we're doing something completely different. We are going to be rewriting The Walking Dead / the games and the TV show. Meaning that we're going to start with Lee Everett going to prison, and then after that we will go to the TV show, which is a jump back and forth, and the choices will determine our path, if that makes sense. Meaning that if we choose one path, we will stick to the games. If we choose the other path, we will stick to the TV show. Meaning that each character from game and show will intertwine with each other. Meaning that some characters from the show will be in the game, some characters from the game will be in the show. So, without further ado, let's start with the very beginning. So we're going to start off with Rick being in the hospital and Lee going to prison. So I had the story here in my lap, which I have written down everything, meaning that's what we're going to start with, that's what we're going to do, and everything like that. So the story starts off with Lee was going to prison until a cop got a report from Shane Walsh that Rick was shot. So here's Shane, right here at the at the moment, sticking with what's it called? With Rick. And so after that, Rick is sent to the hospital, and that is when Shane goes with the Atlantic camp. So now after that, there was a gunshot and nothing happened. So the cop that has taken Lee to prison is basically telling him the same story, and somebody steps out into the street. This time, instead of a walker being hit, it is somebody shooting at the police car, causing it to flip over. And this is where it all starts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here, heads or tail. So this is what it's going to start off on. Heads, we choose that Rick saves Clem just like in the game, and it starts off like the game. Or if it's tails, we meet Rick and it starts off like the TV show. So let's start. First things first, heads or tail? Tail. Okay. So that gives us a perfect momentum. So this time we have Lee. Now we have Rick. Okay. So let's come here. So these are our two characters that are alive at the moment. So we have Rick and Lee. So here is the story since we have chosen the path. So, okay, here it is. The path is going to be that Lee stumbles across the road and walks along the road, basically seeing a bunch of dead people, walkers, and everything that's going. As Lee continues to stumble, Lee sees a man on a bike that rides past him in a hospital gown. The man falls over, Lee helps him up, and that is when we meet Rick. Rick goes to his house, which is in King County, Georgia. They go to the house, Rick goes on the floor and starts crying. As Lee walks out, he is knocked out, like hit with the shovel, just like how Rick was, but instead of Rick, it is Lee. So now we have met Morgan and his son Dwayne. So let's add them. Morgan and Dwayne. Okay. So now that we have met them, we go to Morgan's house. So Lee wakes up. That's when Rick tells himself to Morgan and Dwayne, and they start having a conversation about what happened, what's going on, and that's essentially where we learn everything within the first episode. Now Rick wants to take them somewhere to get weapons and stuff. So that's when Rick, Lee, Morgan, and Dwayne, they go to the police station, do their shower thing, they get weapons, they get clothes, and Rick Rick basically hands Morgan a radio and says, "I promise every night that I will read and whatever." And Lee basically talks to Dwayne about how school is, how everything is before the apocalypse, how he was a history teacher, and they really hit it off as really good friends. And so, after that, Lee and Rick get into their cars after leaving Morgan and Dwayne back at their house, which everything kind of plays out the same. So that's when we do Morgan and Dwayne. They basically, stay behind. And Rick and Lee, they drive off to Atlanta City. After that, they end up running out of gas and they stop at this other person's house. And while they're there, they're looking around. Rick finds a horse just like in the show, but this time Lee finds a bike, a dirt bike, which hasn't been, working for a while, but he managed to put a little bit of gas that had gas in it and basically turns on the dirt bike. And Rick and Lee ride off into the city. And so while they're in the city, they're looking around, they see all these walkers. Rick and Lee are having a conversation about what they should do, how things should be, and that's when walkers come from every direction. And Rick and Lee are trying to get out of it, they can't find any escape, so that's when they're like, shit, what do we do? So Lee basically sees an alleyway and Rick is trying to fight for his life and Lee's like, over there, over there. And that's when Carly, see where I'm going with this? That's where Carly comes out and she starts firing at the walkers. And as they run through the alleyway, which is supposed to be Glenn's thing, Glenn's not there right now. And so Carly fires at the walkers and they start going up the ladder to the rooftop. And after that, while they're going up to the rooftop, Glenn shows up. Okay, so I guess Glenn does show up in this. So Glenn shows up and basically is like, come on, we gotta go. And so Carly and Glenn, they make it inside the mall, which basically plays out like the first episode. The first episode of the TV show. This time, we have Andrea, T-Dog, Ed, and Jackie, I think. Oh, and Doug. That's cool. Doug is there. Where the hell is he? There's Doug. Okay. So, since they're in the mall, everything kind of plays out the same. And so, basically, here it is. So basically everything plays out the same. This time, instead of basically anybody shooting, everybody decides to leave and put themselves on walker guts, and they basically, escape. This time, instead of raining, they actually find a truck, they get inside, and they drive all the way back to Atlanta camp.